When I released my last video, I explained why South Florida has suddenly become a target for large AI data centers. Today, I want to zoom in on one project that brought that conversation into the spotlight here in Palm Beach County. That's Project Tango. If you followed the headlines, you probably heard strong opinions from both sides. Some people viewed it as an important economic opportunity, while others believed it was completely incompatible with the surrounding community. Rather than taking sides, I want to walk through what was actually proposed, why this location was chosen, what the county had to consider, what happened during the final hearing, and why the commissioners ultimately voted the way that they did. One of the biggest misconceptions I found while researching this project was that the idea that Project Tango had already been approved years ago, so the county had no choice but to allow it. That isn't exactly what happened. Back in 2016, this property received approvals for a much different type of industrial development. They approved the concept included approximately 2 million square feet of warehouses and more traditional data processing uses under the county's existing zoning regulations. At that time, Arden didn't exist. Saddleview Elementary School had not been built, and the surrounding area looked very different than it does today. Fast forward to 2026, and the developers were not simply asking to build exactly what had already been approved. They were asking Palm Beach County to approve a major expansion, increasing the overall project to approximately 3.5 to 3.7 million square feet, including 4 hyperscale AI data center buildings, along with 5 warehouse buildings. That distinction became one of the central issues throughout the review process. Supporters argued that the artificial intelligence represents the future of technology and that Palm Beach County should position itself to attract that investment. According to the developer, the project could create hundreds of permanent jobs, generate significant economic activity, and add substantial value to the county's tax base. The developer also stated that the proposed data center buildings would use a closed-loop cooling system intended to reduce daily water consumption, compared with traditional evaporative cooling systems. Residents saw the proposal very differently. Many people living in Arden and nearby communities questioned whether the project of this scale belongs so close to established neighborhoods and to Saddleview Elementary School. Concerns raised during the public processes included compatibility with surrounding residential development, the continuous operation of industrial cooling equipment, electrical demand, potential low-frequency noise, construction traffic, battery storage systems, water uses, and the long-term planning vision for the western communities of Palm Beach County. In an effort to address those concerns before the final vote, the developer submitted a substantially revised site plan. The revised proposal reduced the AI center footprint by approximately 760,000 square feet, which represented a reduction of more than 40% from the earlier data center plan. The developer also proposed an approximate 850-foot setback from the eastern property line, which was intended to move the data center buildings and cooling equipment further away from Saddleview Elementary School and the Arden community. According to the revised plan presented during that hearing, that would have placed portions of the cooling infrastructure approximately 750 feet from the edge of Arden. Those were significant changes, but the question before the county was not simply whether the developer had responded to the resident concerns. The question was whether the revised proposal met Palm Beach County's planning standards and whether a hyperscale AI campus of this size was compatible with the surrounding areas. As I continued researching, I discovered something else that many people didn't realize. This debate wasn't just about Project Tango. It exposed a much larger issue inside Palm Beach County's zoning code. Under the county's existing Unified Land Development Code, data and information processing facilities were classified as light industrial uses. The problem is that those regulations were written before today's hyperscale AI campuses existed. A traditional data center inside a commercial or industrial building is very different from a multi-million square foot campus that may require hundreds of megawatts of electricity dedicated substations, large cooling yards, backup power systems, and continuous operation 24 hours a day. Opponents argued that facilities operating at that scale should no longer be treated the same way that traditional data center processing uses. That debate prompted county officials to begin rewriting the rules. While Project Tango continued through the review process because its application had already been filed, Palm Beach County initiated what is known as zoning in progress, effectively preventing new applications from moving forward under the existing regulations, while county staff develops a new framework for future facilities. Commissioners also directed a staff to prepare a one-year moratorium on new AI data center applications, while those regulations are being developed. One of the ideas discussed by commissioners was regulating these projects according to their resource demands, rather than simply what the buildings are called. Instead of focusing only on the term data center, the county has discussed creating standards for large load users, recognizing that a facility with extraordinary electrical or water demands may require a different review process than a traditional industrial building. That tells me this conversation is far from over. Even though Project Tango became the headline, Palm Beach County is clearly preparing for future applications and trying to create rules that reflect the scale of modern AI infrastructure. The final hearing itself lasted approximately 12 hours, and the legal drama began before the first major presentation. Palm Beach County Mayor and District Commissioner Sarah Baxter recused herself from participating in the hearing and the vote. If you were wondering why the final count included only 6 commissioners instead of 7, that's the reason. Land use hearings like this are considered quasi-judicial proceedings, which means commissioners are expected to evaluate the evidence presented during the official hearing and remain impartial throughout the process. Because Commissioner Baxter had publicly expressed opposition to the project before the hearing, she stepped aside under the advice of the county attorney in order to avoid questions about whether the case had been prejudged and to protect the integrity of the county's decision. That left 6 commissioners to consider the application. During the final deliberations, Commissioner Marcy Woodward raised an important concern about the county's existing zoning framework. She pointed to the extensive list of voluntary restrictions, setbacks, operational conditions, and design changes that had been proposed in an effort to make the project fit within the light industrial classification. Her concern was that the number of special conditions being added suggested that the existing code was never designed for a hyperscale AI project of this magnitude. In other words, the county was being asked to evaluate a new class of infrastructure under regulations written for a very type of development. After the presentation, public testimony, legal arguments, revisions, and commissioners' deliberations, the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners voted 5-1 to deny the requested expansion. Commissioner Maria Marino cast the lone vote in support of the project. She cited the potential economic benefits, the opportunity to attract technology investment, and the importance of diversifying Palm Beach County's economy and tax base. The other 5 voting commissioners supported denial. It's important to understand exactly what that vote means. The commissioners denied the requested hyperscale expansion that was before them. They did not ban every data center in Palm Beach County. They did not erase the previous entitlement associated with the property, and they did not permanently prohibit every possible future use of the land. The earlier industrial approvals connected to the property remain a separate issue, and what exactly happens next will depend on the actions of the property owners, any continuing legal proceedings, and the new zoning framework that Palm Beach County ultimately adopts. The vote also does not mean that larger AI data center conversation has ended. In many ways, Project Tango exposed how unprepared older zoning codes may be for the scale of modern AI infrastructure. Palm Beach County is now trying to determine how future projects should be classified, how close they should be allowed to operate near homes and schools, and what setbacks should be required, how noise should be measured, and how electrical and water demands should factor into the approval process. For me, this project reinforced something I have believed for a long time as a realtor. Buying a home is not just about the house. It's about understanding everything happening around it and everything that may happen in the future. Whenever I'm helping buyers, I encourage them to look beyond what the neighborhood looks like today, pull the zoning surrounding the parcels, review the future land use map, check for pending rezoning and special exception applications, read planning and zoning agendas, review county commission agendas, and look for comprehensive plans and amendments. Pay close attention to road projects, utility corridors, substations, high voltage transmission lines, water and sewer expansions, and major development applications. Find out whether a moratorium is in place, what that moratorium covers, and when it expires, and what ordinance changes might replace it. Those decisions can shape a community for decades, and they can affect traffic, noise, schools, utilities, property values, and the overall character of an area long after the closing table. Whether Project Tango would have ultimately been good or bad for Palm Beach County is not the point. My goal is to help you understand what was proposed, why residents were concerned, why the developer revised the plan, and how the legal and zoning processes worked, and why the commissioners reached the decision that they did. This will certainly not be the last major land use debate for Palm Beach County. And as technology changes, our communities will continue asking difficult questions about growth, infrastructure, agriculture, housing, environmental resources, and the future of Western Palm Beach County. That's one of the reasons I create videos like this. I want to go beyond the headlines and help you understand what's really happening here. Because when you're buying a home, you're not simply buying a floor plan and a piece of property, you're buying into a community and the future direction of that community. If you're considering a move to Palm Beach County, whether it's next month or a year from now, I'd love the opportunity to earn your business and help you navigate not only the homes, but the communities, the growth, the planning decisions, and everything that makes each area unique. There's a lot more to buying here than simply finding the right house, and having someone who understands the local market and follows how our communities are evolving can make all the difference. If this video was helpful to you and helped you understand the bigger picture, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. I have more videos coming about new communities, major development, infrastructure projects, and the local issues that could affect your decision long after you've reached the closing table. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.